What's going on, everybody? I'm back again with another video. I wanted to talk about my soundboard that I purchased a few months ago. It is the Behringer Xenyx Q802USB. Okay? So, I bought this board, I think it was around $80 on Amazon. I was going to get the 502, but I realized that it only had one XLR microphone input, as well as it only controlled lows and highs, and I wanted to be able to control mids as well. So I picked this one up instead because it was like $30 more. Why not? So I picked this one up, and I have to say it's been a great board. I haven't had any problems with it at all, really. It's very sturdy. I mean, it's like... All right, yeah, so it doesn't bend, it doesn't creak, it doesn't do anything. I mean, it's solid. It's super solid. It's nice and hefty. It ain't going anywhere. So I use a CAD C195 microphone for my Week in Technology, which I hope that you guys are watching. It's every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My buddy and I, we do the show every week, and I wanted some better audio quality. I wanted to be able to do almost really fancy podcast quality to low studio quality, I guess. So I did definitely want to be able to do better quality audio. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Sennheiser Game Zeros are really great and they sound amazing. The mic is perfect for gaming, but other than that, it just fails in comparison to the setup I have now. And I was using the Blue Snowball mic for a while, which it served its purpose for quite some time, and it still is an amazing microphone. I'm not knocking on it at all. But I just wanted something a little bit better with a lot more control and to get it exactly the way I wanted it. So that's exactly what happened. That's why I went and started researching this. I believe the Blue Yeti went on sale for like, I think it was 80 bucks. I think it was 80 bucks. And I was like, oh man, I need to buy this because that was a good deal. And I really wanted to buy a better mic than my Snowball. And so I was like, what a decent upgrade. So I was like, I'll just buy that. Then I'm like, well, if I'm gonna spend 80 bucks, I wonder what else I could get. So I started looking at different microphones, XLR, I was looking at boards, everything. Spent quite a bit more than 80 bucks after buying the scissor arm and to hold the mic and the shock mount and all of that nonsense. So, I mean, I ended up spending more than I originally wanted to, but I'm happy that I did, and I have zero regrets from doing it. So I just want to say that right now. The board is great. It has knobs out the wazoo. Again, I am not a sound engineer, so I'm not trying to sound all super professional here, so correct me on anything that I say wrong. I'm not going to try to sound smart. I'm going to sound like an idiot that is happy that he bought a good mic and a good board. So it does have two XLR inputs, two regular line-in mics here. It has gain control, which I keep all the way down because the CAD C195 mic is the most sensitive mic I think I've ever heard or messed with in my life. It's ridiculous. So I keep the gain all the way down. I turn the levels up and I turn up the main mix volume and leave the gain down. Because if I turn the gain up any more than where it's at now, I can hear a mosquito. It'll pick up a mosquito farting on the other side of my house. I'm not even joking. That mic is the most sensitive thing ever. So it has all the mids, highs, and lows control. You have the compressor. It has a compressor knob right on it. It has a pan for left and right. Levels for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6 are for additional stereo equipment or additional line-ins for extra microphones if you're going to go that route. It does have the FX Send. So if you wanted to have like a sound effects board which I highly doubt I'll ever get to that point. But if you have a sound effects board or are wanting a sound effects board, so you can be like Howard Stern or whatever and have some weird funny noises going on or whatever, you can hook this up, plug it into there, and it'll go right out your main mix into your recording software or whatever you're using, and boom, there you go. Everything's going through the same board. It's actually really awesome for $80. Now, I bought the USB version because there is a version that's non-USB that's cheaper. And had I known what was going to happen to me, I would have bought that one. If you have to use USB and you have no other way around it, this is the way to go. I thought, and for whatever reason forgot some other equipment that I had, that I had to go USB. So I opted to go this route. So I bought this board, played around with it on day one when I first got it. I opened it up, messed with it, loved it. It sounded great, messing with all the dials, trying to get everything tuned in nice and sounding great. I got it to where it was sounding okay. But I noticed a slight hum. There was like a hum, a hiss, the noise floor was kind of high. And so I was talking with my father-in-law, who he does loads of music, and he's done podcasting before, and I trust his opinion. I greatly trust his opinion on this type of equipment. And he started off right at the bat saying, I probably would have went with a different board, which I knew he was going to say that, but with the money that I have available to me, I knew that I couldn't really go with anything super nice. I mean, I would have to save up for quite a bit longer, and I was looking for, a right now solution. So this is working out fine. I'm not having any kind of issue. He also recommended the CAD C195, which is an amazing microphone. So if you're looking into something like that, that's perfect. Now, he mentioned some ideas and gave me some ideas. So I went, and he warned me that there was probably going to be some noise coming from the USB because he's had issues in the past. So I went ahead, tried it out. He was right. Then, for whatever reason, I don't know if any of you have watched any of my older videos, but I talked about the issues that I had with my GTX 970s. They were having really bad coil whine, and it was feeding and causing interference into my sound card. Well, I have a Sound Blaster ZX sound card, and I had to take it out and use the onboard audio because it was causing issues with the feedback. Well, since then I upgraded to the 980 Ti, which has no interference. There's no coil whine, and my sound card was just sitting up on a shelf. $100 sound card, and it's just sitting there doing nothing. So I got to thinking about it. I'm like, why don't I use that? So that's exactly what I ended up doing. I ended up putting my sound card back in. It has a line in. I went with the RCA out to 3.5 millimeter mic into my sound card. Hiss was gone, the hum was gone. It sounds glorious. So if you have a sound card with a line in or some other equipment where you can use that and not need the USB, definitely go that route. You're paying extra for the USB, and the USB is kind of wonky and it has a really high noise floor, and it's just, it doesn't sound as clean in my opinion. So the analog definitely is way better. Now it does have the headphone jack, which is a quarter-inch headphone jack. So you have the adapter. I don't remember if it came with an adapter. I want to say it did. I have like a million of them laying around, so I cannot remember. But I keep it plugged in there. I used it once in a while. I don't use it a lot, but just to kind of get the levels and everything good, and I'm done. It did come with the left and right analog out to the 3.5 millimeter, which I didn't know that it did. And so I ran around to all over the place. I mean, I was at Ace Hardware, Lowe's, Radio Shack, which Radio Shack didn't have RCA to 3.5 millimeter. I thought that was really strange. So anyway, I ended up finding it at Home Depot, of all places, Home Depot. So Home Depot had the RCA to 3.5 millimeter, grabbed that, came home, super excited. Guess what was in the box? Yeah, there was already a cable for that in the box that came with the board. So I felt like an idiot. So now I have an extra RCA to 3.5 millimeters. So I mean, you can never have too many tools. So now. Again, like I said, it does have USB, which is great if you're going to do that. So definitely, if you need USB and have no other choice, this or the 502, which is a smaller version. It does quite a bit less, but it's $50 instead of $80. So if you're on a budget, the 502 is a great option. And if you only need one mic. I didn't know if my wife and I might record some music or something later, maybe a little bit of a parody singing thing, just kind of joking around, having fun. Buy another microphone, plug it in, ready to rock and roll. So I went ahead and paid the extra, got more bang for the buck, and got some extra things with it. So all in all, I would definitely have to say, I mean, like I said, I can't really go into too much more detail because I don't know all the scientific terminology and all that kind of crazy stuff. I will say that there was 2 issues that I found with it, well, 3 issues that I found with it so far that I wish they would fix or figure out something. Now, one I did know from watching other people's reviews on it was that it's not level. So if you sit it on the desk on a flat surface and you push on this corner, it'll wobble back and forth. So it's like here and here are the high points, here and here's the low points, and it'll just sit there and rock back and forth. Not a lot, but it definitely is enough that if you don't have a shock mount on your mic and it's mounted right on the desk, if you're messing with the knobs and you dunk, and it kind of rattles back and forth, it's going to pick it up in the mic, and it's gonna your people are going to hear it, and you don't want that, right? So that is a bit annoying, and for 4 other reviews to say the same thing, that definitely tells me that they're all pretty much like that. So that's definitely a build flaw, and QC for Behringer needs to get off their asses. The other thing that I don't care for is that I believe it is a proprietary power source or power plug. So if you lose that thing, you're going to have to go back and buy a specific cable, which is kind of a pain. Another problem that I did have was that the phantom power, it does have phantom power. So if you have a microphone that requires phantom power, no fear. It will do everything you need it to do. So it does have the 48 volt phantom power. And when you turn it on, the light will come on. So the power light is here. Obviously it's getting power. The phantom power is here, the red light. When it comes on and you try to turn it off, the light stays on. So even though phantom power is not on, the light is showing that it's on. And several people in the review said the same thing. So again, this is Behringer's QC sleeping on the job, I guess, because how do you pass that up? Turn it on, it's on. You turn it off, it's still on. So anyway, the other thing that I wish they could add to it, and I really don't think that it would cost that much to where it would really jack the price up to holy bananas quality, but if they had a power switch back here. I mean, the thing does have the little vent here to keep the power supply from getting too hot, but it does get pretty warm. And if they just had a power switch back here to be able to turn it off when you're not using it, that would save so much trouble. I mean, you could just turn it off. You wouldn't have to worry about, heating it up and putting any extra wear on it when you're not even using it. It's just sitting there while you're sleeping at night, just cooking away. I wish that they would have a power switch on the back, and I think if they would have added a power switch on the back, it would have been, I definitely would have given it like a higher rating. I would probably give this, from the things that I would use, and me just being super excited that it works and it sounds great, I would probably say, oh, it's a 10 out of 10. It's amazing. It's so much better than anything I've ever had. But knowing what products are out there, I would probably give it like a 6 out of 10. So it's definitely good. It definitely serves its purpose. I will probably upgrade it later if things progress with my channel and I start, raking in a little bit of money and I have a little bit more funds to play with and I get to the point where I need to do higher quality things, I will step the game up. So far, right now in the video, you've been listening to my JK Mike J lavalier mic. So my lavalier mic is what you've been listening to me do the whole show. And it's been plugged in to my Zoom H1 recorder, okay? So I've been recording this whole entire show, or video, with the Zoom, with the JK Mic J lavalier mic. Now I'm going to switch over to my CAD C195 plugged into the Behringer soundboard, and I will let you hear it for yourself and wrap up the video that way. So let's switch over now. All right, so now you can hear what it sounds like. So now I am using the Behringer Xenyx Q802 USB with the CAD C195 microphone, which is right here. I did this here so that way it would hold in there a little bit better, because the shock mount that came with my scissor arm did not fit my mic quite properly. So I went ahead and just kind of modified it some. So at least I'm giving you the idea of what it sounds like. If you listen to my live show, don't mind all the crap in the background. If you listen to my live show every week on Wednesdays, then you would hear the quality. I mean, this is exactly what it sounds like whenever I'm using it. I mean, I can pull it closer and I can talk a little bit closer to the microphone this way, or I can rock back a little bit and then I got to talk a little louder, but it still sounds good. It still sounds okay. Now, I just wanted to do this video. It kind of ran longer than I wanted it to, but there's a lot of stuff to really cover and talk about on this. And I know a lot of people are afraid to make that jump, because I know I was at one point, to go from just a regular plain old USB microphone, which I know there's a lot of good USB microphones out there. I'm not saying that they're not. I mean, I know that they're really high quality. But if you're trying to make the jump from a regular USB microphone to an XLR mic with a soundboard where you can have the mixer and you can set it up and, you know, just edit it, or not edit it, but adjust it on the fly, don't be scared to do it. I mean, this is a cheap way. I will post the links of all the things that I have purchased here, which I believe I got all of them came from Amazon. So I will post all of the links to all the stuff that I have talked about today down in the description. So if you're interested in any of it, then by all means, buy it with confidence. I have not had a single issue. I can say now, because this is the first time I've actually unplugged it from the power supply since I bought it, whenever I was doing the first part of the video, that if you unplug it and plug it back in with the phantom power supply or phantom power button off, the light does go off. So it'll stay on until you unplug the power, essentially. So anyway, this has been Josh with TektopiaTV with the Behringer Xenyx Q802 USB soundboard. I like it. I approve of it. If you're looking into getting into something like this and you want to be able to have better sounding audio and be able to mix it down the way you want, also add sound effects to a podcast that you're doing, then this is a board for you if you're on a budget. So thanks for watching the video and have a good one.